Revealed, the miraculous Nephilim, their incredible fall, and God's divine flood of redemption. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the earth groaned beneath the weight of unrepentant wickedness. As darkness thickened, the skies bore the lingering shadow of discontent where, among humankind, the Nephilim strode. These towering beings, fierce and proud, were the offspring born of divine beings and daughters of men, casting an awe-stricken fear throughout the land. Amid this chaos stood Noah, a righteous man, known for his faith and devotion. The heart of the Lord was heavy with grief, for he beheld the corruption that had spread like a contagion through his creation, while the Nephilim reveled in their might, boasting of strength that rivaled mountains. Noah toiled in his fields, a lone beacon of hope in an age marked by sin. The oppressive air shimmered with divine tension as the Spirit of the Lord stirred restlessly over the land, and whispers of his discontent echoed through the heavens. One day, as the wind howled mournfully, Noah found himself with an extraordinary burden, a command from the Almighty. He heard God's voice call him, resonating through the very marrow of his bones, "Build for yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and out with pitch." The enormity of the task loomed before Noah, and though fear tried to clutch at his heart, a resolute obedience surged within him. Each timber would be a testament to his faith, each nail driven into the wood a vow to his God. Yet, as he began the monumental work, he could feel the mocking eyes of the Nephilim watching him from their heights, their laughter a chilling reminder of their power. What rain could fall on this dry earth? They jeered, a chorus of pride wrapped in condescension. Noah's heart was heavy, knowing their words sowed seeds of doubt amongst the people who once looked to him for wisdom, yet, he could not yield to despair. With each swing of his hammer, he cried out to the onlookers, imploring them to turn from their wicked ways, yearning for their hearts to embrace the divine warning. "Repent," he called, his voice straining against the weight of laughter that rebounded off the hills. "For judgment is to come upon this land." But the Nephilim's presence, fierce and unyielding, deflected any glimmer of hope Noah sought to plant among the hardened hearts of men. As time unfolded, the ark grew in size, a formidable structure against the bleak landscape. Clouds gathered on the horizon, heavy with judgment, while Noah manifestly endeavored to fulfill God's call, unwavering in faith. The tension thickened like the air before a storm, and each passing day brought Noah closer to the unseen fate that awaited the world. The Nephilim continued their taunts, strutting like peacocks, enveloped in shade of their own making. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. As the clouds darkened, an ominous silence settled upon the land where laughter had once reigned. Each drop of impending rain seemed like a divine heartbeat, pulsing with intent, while Noah steadied his resolve. His eyes turned heavenward, seeking understanding, longing to grasp God's unfathomable purpose. Would he endure, or would the storm consume the faith that burned brightly within him? As the first raindrop fell, the world held its breath, waiting for the divine flood that was to bring redemption or destruction. Unbeknownst to many, the reckoning had drawn near, and with it, the profound mysteries of God's sovereign plan began to unfold. As the heavens opened and torrents descended upon the earth, the air trembled with an unexpected fury. Rain poured forth, saturating the parched ground, each drop a proclamation of divine judgment. The Nephilim, whose laughter once echoed like thunder, now stood aghast, watching as disbelieving hearts turned to terror before the cascade of their undoing. Even in their imposing stature, the mighty could not comprehend the wrath that had been set into motion. Noah, in the cryptic silence within the ark, felt the vibrations of the storm echo against the sturdy sides of his vessel. Inside, he and his family gathered, the dimensions of the ark now feeling both like a refuge and a womb, holding them in God's promise. In that sacred space, his wife and sons looked to him with uncertainty, their faces reflecting the storm's fury outside. "Fear not," Noah spoke, his voice steady yet filled with deep resolve. For the Lord has commanded me, and we shall be preserved. His heart was anchored in the covenant made by God, a simple act of obedience that forged an impossible hope. As the rain continued to fall, the deep fountains of the great abyss burst forth, unleashing waters that roared like the rage of 1,000 storms. The cries of despair rose across the land, mingling with the falling rain as humanity's rebellion met divine retribution. Those who had scoffed at Noah's warnings now desperately searched for dry ground, but the earth swallowed their cries as swiftly as it welcomed the flood. The ark, buoyed by the Lord's hand, floated gracefully above the swells. Within its walls, the animals' representations of God's creation huddled in pairs, a reminder of his enduring promise to preserve life amidst judgment. Every creature awaited the unfolding of God's plan, as Noah's family tended to them with precaution. During those days of rain, their bond deepened, forged in the crucible of faith and accountability, yet within the heart of Noah, conflict raged. He prayed earnestly for the world outside, longing for a miraculous change of heart among the people he had tried so hard to reach. "O Lord, have mercy on this earth," he beseeched. "For they know not the depths of their plight. Spare them, I implore you." But the deluge continued unabated, and with each passing hour, Noah understood that this was not just physical destruction, it was a spiritual reckoning, looming all around. The weight of God's judgment was visible in the water that surged beyond hills and valleys, engulfing the defiant and the faithful alike. The storm was relentless, but in the very eye of this tempest, Noah felt a surge of faith, the kind that could only be birthed through adversity. Then, amidst the downpour, a still small voice pierced the turmoil, echoing in his spirit. It was the voice of the Almighty, gently reminding him of the promise, "I will establish my covenant with you." With those words, newfound strength flowed through Noah, igniting a warrior spirit within him. He realized that when God speaks, an unbreakable truth goes forth, one that no force could thwart. Even as the world around him succumbed to despair. As the waters rose and the echoes of a broken world faded away, Noah's heart beat with the rhythm of God's purpose unfolding. For as the flood bore down, seeds of a new beginning were being planted beneath the surface, the promise of redemption not just for Noah and his family, but for all creation. But with the night looming ever darker, an unseen truth loomed larger. What of the remnants of the wicked, and what would become of the covenant that started with Adam, echoed through Enoch, and now rested upon this faithful steward? For little did Noah know, God's intricate plan would next reveal a lineage that would change the course of humanity for all generations to come. And it came to pass that, as the rain fell incessantly, the world outside became a vast sea, swallowing the mountains and laying low the proud cities of man. The cries of the earth were like wails in the night, mournful echoes of a generation that had turned their back on the Almighty. In that very torment, Noah's soul wrestled with the fate of those beyond the ark, even as he clung to the promise of the Father. "Lord," he prayed in fervent whispers, "what is to be done for the souls of men? Though the earth is drowned, your mercies reach even the depths of despair." His heart ached with a profound burden, not just for the life preserved within the ark but for those who had scorned the warnings of righteousness. Yet the rain only intensified, and the waters rose, while the spirit of fear gripped the hearts of those who had once derided him. Days turned into nights, yet the storm showed no sign of ceasing. Holding each moment before the throne of grace, Noah watched over his family, ensuring their hearts remained steadfast amid the chaos. His sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, each carried a weight beyond their years, yet they found strength in their father's unwavering faith. Then, one night, the tempest seemed to quiet for the briefest instant, and within the haunting stillness, a vision came upon Noah. The heavens opened before him in a dream, and he beheld a great multitude gathered at the foot of a mountain, surrounded by clouds and supernatural light. In their eyes was a longing, aching for hope as they called out to the Almighty with voices that reverberated through the thundering skies. "Have mercy upon us, O Lord," they cried, "for we have walked in darkness and have forsaken your way." Noah fell prostrate in the presence of this vision, trembling as the revelation descended upon him. "Who are these, O Lord?" he asked, heart racing with both dread and wonder. As the clouds parted, he saw a figure ascend, radiant and majestic. "These are the fallen," the voice replied, "those who sought strength in their pride, but even now, their hearts yearned for redemption. Awakening with a start, Noah was struck with the weight of God's grace that could indeed stretch even to the hardened hearts of the Nephilim. He understood then, the truth of God's mercy, that even in judgment, there lies a glimmer of hope, a flicker of light amidst the overwhelming darkness. His heart swelled with the understanding that God's purposes are intricately woven with threads of justice and mercy. As the ark bobbed like a cork upon the unyielding waters, Noah's spirit was renewed. He turned to his family, whose faces mirrored his resolve. We must trust in God's sovereign plan, a plan that extends beyond our sight. For he has set forth a new beginning, even amidst this judgment. And so, they continued arming themselves with prayers, for each splash of water against the timber of the ark became a testament to their belief in God's promise. Their faith grew stronger like the timbers of the ark, forged in righteousness and bathed in the assurance of divine rectitude, yet unbeknownst to Noah, as he sought after the hearts that longed to return, a hidden purpose stirred within the waters. And in the depths below, as time passed and the rain continued to flood the earth, the spirit of the Nephilim, once proud and defiant, seeped through the fabric of creation, a testament to God's unfathomable design. For as days turned to weeks, and the altar of the world transformed into a canvas for God's judgment, the breath of renewal began to pulse beneath the surface. Would it be possible that in the ashes of destruction, the seeds of a greater salvation began to take root? What mighty plan awaited to unfold, veiled in the depths of God's infinite wisdom? Only time would reveal the tapestry of his relentless grace. And it came to pass, as the days of the deluge deepened, the silence within the ark held a sacred weight, palpable yet filled with unspoken hope. Noah and his family devoted themselves to prayer, their voices uniting in a chorus of supplication amid the storm's unrelenting fury. Lord of heaven, Noah called out on behalf of his family, remember your covenant, and may your mercy never depart from those who have feared and revered you. For we are but humble servants in your plan, and we seek your will above our own. Each day unfolded like a scroll of sealed destiny, and as the hours passed, the thoughts of Noah turned again to the vision he had received. He pondered deeply, seeking comprehension of a mysterious purpose woven into the very fabric of God's creation. His sons watched their father, sensing a fervor kindled within him, igniting their own spirits to wrestle with thoughts of the outside world, and its ultimate fate. Father, Shem ventured, looking into his father's earnest eyes, is there still hope for those who have perished? His brow furrowed beneath the weight of lost souls. Indeed, my son, came Noah's solemn reply, for we serve a God whose mercy cannot be fathomed. Even in judgment, he is working a purpose we may not yet see. As the waters continued to engulf the earth, the ark was tossed upon the waves like a fragile shell upon the surface of the sea. Yet within its wooden embrace, the light of faith remained unwavering. Days turned into weeks, and Noah observed how each raindrop fell as though it carried the weight of the world's transgressions. Memories of the laughter and merriment that once filled the streets of thriving cities filled his heart with a longing that pierced the darkened air. Yet, amidst his sorrow, glimmers of a divine revelation broke through. It came, one fateful evening as the wind stilled, and the thunder bowed to silence, the celestial presence of God enveloped him anew. A whisper danced around the ark, carrying the gravity of truth. Fear not, Noah, for I am making all things new. In the midst of this trial, I am restoring what was lost. Father, Noah pleaded into the encroaching stillness, who are we to be instruments of your mercy? The voice answered like gentle rain, you are a remnant chosen for purpose. Your obedience shall herald the dawn of a new covenant, one where darkness gives way to the light of hope. In that moment, the quietude of the ark shifted the atmosphere charged with expectancy. The hearts of Noah's family began to resonate with the promise of restoration, awakening within them a mission, to carry forth the knowledge of God's love beyond the flood. The seeds of a new heritage began to take root, but unseen beyond the roaring tide, among the depths where purity once thrived, the spirits of the Nephilim stirred a testament to choices made and the cost of rebellion. There, in their bleak reign of darkness, something flickered, a remnant of light, seeking the very redemption that the Lord had proclaimed. As Noah looked out upon the waters, murky and tumultuous, he could not comprehend the enormity of the coming days. In the veiled recesses of the divine plan, a future unknown was being crafted, a rich tapestry of grace about to unfold. What would emerge from the waters? And how would God's wondrous design sweep away despair, leaving only whispers of hope and redemption? For the time was drawing near when the world would witness the essence of God's sovereign will, a manifestation of grace poised to transform lives even from the depths of darkness. Surely, the stage was set for a miraculous awakening, and the dawn awaited to break, revealing the transcendence of his unfailing love. And it came to pass that as the days stretched into 40, the flood waters swelled higher, and the ark became a sanctuary amid the chaos of a world undone. Within its vessel, Noah and his family pressed deeper into discourse, their hearts heavy yet fueled with faith. The rhythm of the storm outside served as a backdrop to their sacred gathering. Noah, bolstered by the divine promises spoken to him, called forth his family. "Come, let us share the visions given to me in the stillness of the night. The Lord has promised not only judgment but also hope. With our hands, we shall build a new chapter in the history of mankind." Ham, ever inquisitive, raised his hand. "Father, what shall this new chapter look like? Will the world we know be restored?" "The covenant of the Lord is one of renewal," Noah replied, his voice steady as those listening leaned closer. "It is He who holds the power to breathe life into what is dead. What was once swallowed by darkness shall find its light again." As the hours passed and the mighty torrent raged, something remarkable began to stir within the hearts of the family, a fusion of courage and vision rooted in God's continued guidance. They envisioned a world cleansed, a creation renewed, and a humanity restored to rightful fellowship with the Creator. In that moment, a great rumble echoed through the structure of the ark, like distant thunder conjured by the sheer weight of divine presence. And as if answering the stirring of their spirits, the voice of the Almighty spoke through the silence. "Noah, listen and heed my words. Soon the waters shall recede, and the earth shall be renewed under your stewardship. In reverence we await, O Lord." Came Noah's response, inspiring his sons and their wives. "But how shall we carry forth your word to a world anew? What instruments may we be in your hands? Through your very lives," the Lord proclaimed, as the winds howled outside, carrying forth the weight of this divine proclamation. "You shall be beacons of light in a world reborn. As you step forth from this ark, know that all creation awaits your declaration of faith." Days turned into nights as the deluge persisted, but a powerful mantle of prayer covered the family, a divine shield against despair. They sought to comprehend the tumultuous judgments and the salvaged hope that lingered just beyond their sight. Thus, did Shem, filled with a zeal kindled by their father's words, propose a plan, a gathering of those who believed. "Let us prepare to tell the generations of the grace that has upheld us. Let our children and their children know the depths of the fury but also the heights of his mercy." And lo, as each day came and went, the spirits of the Nephilim still lurked beneath the waves, unbeknownst to those within the ark. They reveled in the chaos they had crafted but did not know what awaited them from the hand of the Almighty. Amongst them lay an echo of yearning, one that reached toward the heavens even in darkness. A fragment of longing for redemption, not yet extinguished, stirred in those cursed souls. Then, one fateful night, the skies opened, and the rain ceased. It was as if the breath of dawn was drawing near. As Noah gazed through the window of his ark, hope began to blossom anew in that sacred vessel. Would their faith endure beyond the wrath? Was the promise truly alive within their hearts? For the time was drawing near when the call to populate the earth would awaken, and the testimony of their deliverance would resound across the lands. Yet, what of the Nephilim? Would they remain in the depths of despair, or might there yet be a glimmer of mercy even for the rebellious? In the shadow of this great transformation, hidden still was the flicker of God's sovereign plan, poised to reveal depths of grace previously unseen, ready to echo across generations, ushering in a new creation bathed in His love. And it came to pass, at the end of the 40th day, that the ark rocked gently upon the receding waters, a testament to God's faithfulness. The sun broke through the heavy clouds, casting radiant beams upon the still surface of the sea, a promise of the new dawn soon to rise. Noah, feeling the warm light envelop him, gathered his family once more, sensing the moment of transition upon them. "Behold, my beloved," he declared, his eyes alive with the anticipation of God's word. The Lord has commanded us to be fruitful and multiply, to fill the earth. Let us remember the covenant he has made, not only for ourselves but for all creation. As the family huddled close, a palpable sense of hope and trepidation filled the air. Japheth, leaning forward, said, "Father, what of the world that awaits us? Will we find it welcoming, or must we tread carefully in the remnants of wrath?" "Indeed, my son," answered Noah, his voice steady, "the earth will bear scars from the judgment, yet it shall also speak of grace. For as it is written, his mercies are new every morning." Lamentations 3 verses 22-23. We shall bear witness to his restoration. Each heart quickened at these words. A remarkable renewal awaited them beyond the wooden sanctuary where they had known both fear and comfort. Then Noah, led by the Spirit, went to the window of the ark. He strained his eyes against the dawning horizon, seeking what lay beyond the horizon of their confinement. His heart yearned to understand, for every fiber of his being resonated with the divine obligation overwhelming him. Amidst this expectancy, Shem touched his father's shoulder. "O Father, may we honor God's commandment with our very souls, proclaiming his glory to the generations to come." The spirit of exhortation filled the ark, binding them in unity as each recounted the memories of the flood alongside the assurances of salvation. Their voices echoed, harmonizing in faith, as the divine presence beckoned them toward a destiny that was yet to unfold. Suddenly, a motion below deck stirred, and within the depths of the ark, the animals moved with restive anticipation. Every creature seemed to sense the change, and Noah summoned his family to attend the shifts with awareness. "Something is stirring in the heart of creation," he murmured, the weight of divine mystery hanging in the air. It is as if they too sensed the hand of God upon the earth. The time of waiting is drawing to an end. As the family prepared to heed God's voice, the clouds disbanded, revealing the vast heavens, celebrated by the colors of the rainbow, a glorious sign of the covenant. Yet, an uneasiness lingered in the atmosphere, for the nefarious spirits beneath the waters churned, their wrathful sky sheltering having been disrupted. With the light piercing the veil into darkness, a spark ignited within the depths of these fallen beings. Hope and dread coalesced in their demise, for even they were not wholly beyond redemption, even in rebellion. Amidst the thundering echoes of their dark existence, an unfulfilled prophecy loomed on the horizon. The day was approaching, a time when the compassion of God would be revealed even towards the flawed. The irony of mercy in the face of judgment hovered like mist in the air. A question hung there waiting for an answer: could there be a chance for grace for those lost souls? Noah sensed a divine revelation unfolding, one that would not just restore the earth, but would reveal the depth of God's sovereign plan, entwining hope and despair into one divine narrative for all of creation. And it came to pass, on the first day of the month, when the water had receded from off the earth, that Noah uncovered the window of the ark and looked out. With the light of day flooding in, the landscape unrolled before him, a blank canvas washed anew by the divine waters. The earth lay desolate but not without promise, for green tendrils began to stretch forth from the ground where none had flourished before. Noah's heart swelled within him, laden with gratitude and awe. He turned to his family, who gathered near, their faces illuminated with the dawning hope that had returned to creation. "The Lord has been gracious to us, my beloved. Let us offer thanksgiving for his mercy. The earth we shall inhabit once more is the very testimony of his faithfulness." As they joined hands, a collective prayer rose in reverent unison. Yet among them flickered a doubt, for the remnants of the world still haunted their vision. "Yet, Father," Shem spoke tentatively, "what of the Nephilim that once walked upon the earth? Their presence was great, and their hearts were perverse. Will not their legacy linger as a shadow over us?" "Aye," replied Noah, his brow furrowing with concern. "For as it is written in Genesis 6 verse 4, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men. Their corruption brought forth judgment, but in their fall lies a mystery of redemption." With that, the words of the prophet Michael echoed in his heart: "Who is a God like unto thee, that pardoneth iniquity and passeth by the transgression of the remnant of his heritage?" Noah pondered profoundly on the possibility of grace extended even to those that had fallen, for God's heart is ever inclined toward mercy. Then he was drawn to a distant peak, where the waters had parted to reveal a mountainous crown, standing defiantly above the ruins. Let us behold if the Lord has provided a sign. The family hastened to the deck, and they beheld with fearful awe as a white dove flew from the ark, wings glistening under the newly bright sun. It soared outward, circling the glade, and returned at the hour's end. In its beak was an olive branch, a token of life and hope, signaling that the waters subsided. The dove hath brought us a word from heaven, shouted Japheth, his spirit ignited with fervor. Peace returns upon the earth. Yet, even as they rejoiced, Noah sensed the weight of destiny pressing against the growing elation. Could the Nephilim, perished yet unforgotten, rise again from depths unseen? As the dove settled upon Noah's shoulder, whispers of that time continued to dangle upon the fabric of his thoughts. How oft had the sons of God mingled with the daughters of man, stitching together ruin from the threads of divine design. What lay ahead for them, this remnant? Were they truly free from this oppressive legacy, or would it visit them anew? With a heart that beat in rhythm with God's covenantal promise, Noah declared, "Let us build an altar to the Lord, for it is in worship that we shall find our true strength." And so they did, piling stones from the new earth, forging a place of remembrance. Yet then, as they prayed and sang, an unsettling presence hovered like a storm about the horizon. Deep from the earth, a whisper trembled through the ground beneath their feet, an echo of a story unwritten yet holding illumination for future generations. The spirits who had incited the flood were not entirely vanquished, their shadows loomed still, waiting ever for a chance to disrupt God's unfolding narrative. Noah's heart tightened in foreboding, for a divine truth lingered beneath that prayerful atmosphere. The remnants of wrath, though subdued, still awaited a moment to rise. Thus dawned a question of fate upon creation, leaving them pondering the full breadth of God's sovereign plan. What new Pharaoh would arise from the ashes of their judgment, and how would God's promise unveil itself in the righteousness of the remnant? The challenge of faith and the weight of divine mystery intertwined, inviting all of them to behold the unfolding saga of salvation yet to be revealed. And it came to pass, after the altar was erected upon the new earth, that Noah sought the counsel of the Lord. With earnest heart, he knelt before the altar, lifting his voice in fervent supplication. O Lord, God of our fathers, what shall we do in this time of uncertainty? Thou hast preserved us through the waters, and now we stand upon dry ground. Yet the echoes of the past still whisper to our souls. As the sun began its descent, casting a golden hue across the ground, the Lord spoke unto Noah. Behold, I establish my covenant with thee and thy sons after thee. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of a flood, neither shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. And he set his bow in the cloud as a sign of the everlasting covenant between himself and the earth. Noah lifted his eyes, beholding the vibrant colors woven within the arc of radiance that stretched across the sky. This divine promise stirred an abiding faith within him, yet shadows of foreboding dimmed his joy. What of the seeds of corruption that lay dormant, Lord? He cried. What new perils await this remnant? The Lord's voice answered with authority. A seed shall rise from thy line, and from it shall come a deliverer, one who will confront the giants of the earth and reclaim dominion over creation. Yet the path is strewn with trials. Be vigilant, for evil shall not cease its pursuit. With the Lord's words fresh in his heart, Noah returned to his family, revealing the promise made. Our God has spoken. He has placed his bow in the clouds, signifying his covenant with us. We shall not fear the waters, for they shall no longer cover the earth in judgment. But we must remain watchful, for the remnants of the past seek to weave themselves anew among us. As they bowed together in worship, a sudden chill swept through the air, and a great rumbling arose from beneath their feet. The ground quaked, and a chill spread throughout the assembly. Shem grasped his father's arm, eyes wide with alarm. What is this? Do the spirits of old awaken? Fear not. Noah declared, raising his hands. For we are his chosen remnant, and we stand upon the word of our God. We shall be fortified in spirit. And as his words left his lips, the earth split and heaved as if in torment, revealing ancient shadows, a sign of the lingering spirits from the time of the giants. The very ground seemed to beckon, prompting echoes of lost souls intertwined with a dark legacy. "See you not the remnants of the Nephilim?" cried Japheth, filled with both dread and curiosity, pointing toward the frayed edges of the darkened earth. "Their essence is not extinguished." Shem looked intently at his father. "Father, what must we do now? Are we to confront what stands before us?" Once more, Noah's heart wrestled against the uncertainty, yet amid the chaos, hope shimmered like a distant star. "We shall overcome through prayer and the strength of our covenant with God. As it is written, the God of peace shall bruise Satan under your feet shortly." Romans 16 verse 20. "We will remain steadfast, seeking his face." Days passed, and while they worked the new earth, whispers of the past lingered, echoes of the giants that had fallen still brushed against their spirits, warning of the darkness that sought to reclaim dominion. Yet, within the hearts of Noah and his sons, a fire ignited, a longing for righteousness. They gathered each evening to recount the stories of old and to reinforce their commitment to the Lord's purpose. They built further upon the altar, a sanctuary for their prayers, that the stony ground beneath them would not lay hold on their faith. Then the Lord stirred their spirits, revealing an urgent truth. "Understand, my faithful remnant, the battle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." Ephesians 6 verse 12. Thus, the family, fortified by covenant and prayer, stood on the precipice of their destiny, knowing that they would be vessels for a resurgence of hope against the lurking shadows, and with the glimmer of the divine bow in the clouds above them, they awaited the unveiling of God's ultimate plan, what could come forth from the legacy of the giants and how their faith would be tested in the days to come. What new chapter in God's redemptive story awaited them in their journey filled with both peril and promise? And it came to pass, as the days turned into weeks, Noah and his sons continued to labor upon the new earth, diligently sowing seeds of righteousness where corruption had once reigned. Under the watchful eye of the divine bow, they cultivated both the ground and their hearts, fervently seeking the Lord's guidance amidst the echoes of the past. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, filling the sky with hues of purple and gold, a most curious sight captured their attention. A storm cloud loomed on the edges of the horizon, dark and brooding, as if it were descending directly from the heavens. The air turned heavy, stirring with an impending sense of foreboding. "What manner of tempest approaches us?" Japheth asked, fear gripping his heart. Shem, ever observant, squinted into the gathering clouds. "There is a tumult in the spirit, something stirs, and I fear it may be of the ancient shadows." Noah, sensing the unease of his family, called them together, once again prompting prayer. "Gather, my sons, that we may beseech our God for understanding. For surely, his hand is at work, even in creation's groaning." As they knelt in prayer, a great wind rose, filling the air with voices, whispers of the past mingling with the winds. "Behold, it is coming," the voices cried. "The giants of old return." And as they prayed earnestly, the earth shook once more, but this time with an intensity that made their hearts tremble. The dark cloud split, revealing forms that surged forth, great beings whose shadows eclipsed the very light of day. These were not mere echoes, they were manifestations of the spirits that had once walked the earth, stirring chaos and destruction in their wake. "Look!" Shem cried, pointing towards the oncoming shadows. "We are not alone in this new world. Shall we stand against such darkness?" Noah raised his staff high, his voice ringing with courage. "We shall confront this mystery with the promises of the Almighty. For the battle belongs to the Lord, who says in his word, 'For I know the plans I have for you,' declares the Lord, 'plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.'" Jeremiah 29 verse 11. Yet, the shadows swirled closer, and within them, forms began to solidify. Muffled cries echoed, and from the darkness, the released spirits revealed themselves. Their faces bore the scars of ancient defeat, remnants of a time long past, yet their eyes shone with a malignant desire, to reclaim their lost dominion. "These are the Nephilim, born from disobedience and darkness," Japheth exclaimed, realizing the gravity of their return. What hope do we have against such beings? Hope lies within us. Noah declared, his voice steady with divine assurance. For our God is for us, who can stand against us? We must remember, as David proclaimed, for by thee I have run through a troop, and by my God have I leaped over a wall, Psalm 18 verse 29. The family rallied, encircling their father. They lifted their voices in a chorus of praise, invoking the name of the Lord, proclaiming his sovereignty over the earth. The very ground beneath them trembled as if responding to their faith, and in the midst of the chaos, the bow in the sky glimmered brighter, casting rays of light that pierced through the heaviness, illuminating the path before them. The spirits recoiled, shrieking at the sound of praise, and for a moment, the darkness faltered. Noah lifted his hands once more, for it is written, Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you, James 4 verse 7. An extraordinary presence enveloped them, and amidst the turmoil, a whisper of peace flowed through their souls, an assurance that the great promise of God was woven into their very being. The legacy of the giants, though troubling, was not the end of the story, rather, it marked the beginning of a confrontation between light and darkness, between the faithful and the fallen. As tumultuous winds swirled around them, Noah understood that this would be a battle of faith, one that would reflect the very heart of God's greater plan, a plan that echoed through the generations to come. But in the stillness that followed the storm, a new question lingered in his heart, a prophetic revelation yet to unfold. What would be the cost of their faith, and how would God's covenant manifest amidst the return of ancient shadows? The answer lay just beyond the horizon, concealed within the depths of divine mystery. And it came to pass that, as the dawn broke upon a new day, the very earth sighed in response to the titanic events that loomed before Noah and his family. The shadows stirred, encroaching upon their newfound sanctity, stirring a sense of urgency deep in their hearts. The whispers of the past lingered still, echoing the warnings of divine judgment intertwined with fleeting glimmers of hope. Gathering around the altar they had built, Noah with resolute faith called upon his sons, Today, we shall commune with our God and seek his strength. For it is he who has preserved us, and it is he who shall guide us through these trials. As they bowed their heads, the atmosphere thickened with reverence, each breath mingling with prayer that reached the very heavens. O Lord of hosts, Noah intoned, voice steady yet earnest, I implore you, grant us wisdom for the battles ahead. May we stand firm upon your promises, for our hearts tremble, knowing the giants of old approach. The air was charged with expectancy, a mixture of fear and the sacred acknowledgement of God's presence within their gathering. Suddenly, the ground beneath them quaked slightly, a subtle reminder of the power that lay dormant within creation, waiting to be unleashed. In that moment, Noah's eyes sparked with holy determination. We shall not falter, he declared, lifting his staff high toward the heavens. The Lord has made his covenant with us, and as surely as the waters receded, so too will we emerge triumphant from this darkness. And as the family joined their voices in worship, the praise rose like incense to the Almighty, and the shadows began to recoil, as if the light they invoked pierced straight to their very essence. There was a palpable change. The air was now saturated with the promise of victory, a spiritual warmth wrapping around them like a cloak against the cold deceit of the fallen. In that sacred moment, amidst their ardent worship, the Lord's voice rang clear in their hearts, assuring them, Fear not, for I have overcome the world. The giants you see before you are but echoes of the past, they wield no power over those steadfast in my covenant. His words ignited a flame of courage within Noah and his sons, as they embraced the truth that had been spoken. Their battle would not be fought by might, but rather through unwavering faith in their God. Together, we are a remnant, Noah affirmed, locking eyes with his family, a fierce unity forming in their hearts. We shall carry forth the knowledge of his love and grace to a world reborn. Just as this declaration echoed into the heavens, the dark clouds churned above, writhing with both fury and fear as the spirits of the Nephilim were forced to face the light of God's promise. With every prayerful note, the ground shifted as if reconciled to the sovereignty of the Creator, and from the depths, an ominous howl erupted, a cry of rebellion against the unyielding resolve of the faithful. But Noah sensed no trepidation, rather, he felt a profound joy swelling within him as the very fabric of God's design unfolded before his very eyes. Now, we shall take back what the enemy believes is his. Now is the time to proclaim the very truth of our salvation. He shouted, emboldened by the holy fervor that surged through the hearts of his sons. At that moment, Shem stepped forward, emboldened by the rallying call of faith. Father, let us gather the people who dwell beyond our gates. We will testify of the mighty works of God, revealing his mercies even amid destruction. The force of conviction was irresistible, and the family resolved to stand as a testament of faith, reaching out to those who still lingered in despair. With determination, they traversed the borders of their platform of safety, stepping boldly into the world now marked by both judgment and renewal. The air was thick with the fragrance of the earth reclaiming itself, but there remained shadows desperate to impose their will. As they moved forward, the remnants of past lives lingered like whispers of wind, anticipating the impact of faith severing the chains of despair. Thus began a new chapter in God's unfolding narrative, one where shadows would clash with the light of the covenant and truth would challenge even the most entrenched chains. Noah and his family stood resolute against the dark tide, for God's promise of redemption was steadfast, wrapping around them like an eternal embrace. Not all who wandered the earth had succumbed to wickedness. There were many searching for hope amidst the ruins. Undeterred, Noah proclaimed boldly, "Let it be known that the God we serve is one of mercy, calling us into light from darkness. Hope can bloom, and redemption is available even in the direst of circumstances." The earth itself seemed to resonate with these words, awakening dormant hearts to the truth of the Almighty's love. In that moment, amid the clash of shadows, Noah resolved that their journey was not simply a battle for survival, but a divine mission to enlighten every heart within reach. And as they journeyed forth, the remnants of the Nephilim watched with both rage and curiosity, for they too realized their hold was not invincible against the tide of overwhelming grace that surged through the very essence of creation. For it is written, "Where sin abounded, grace did much more abound." Romans 5 verse 20. So with every step forward in faith, Noah and his family bore testimony of the conquering love of God, determined with unyielding devotion to usher forth a new inheritance for all who would believe, a legacy entwined with the threads of divine mercy, which would transform generations to come. Let all who hear this account respond. Subscribe immediately to stay connected to God's Word. Leave a like now so we may spread God's truth through the algorithm. Comment your reflections and how this powerful story has impacted your faith. And don't wait even one more second to share this testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear of God's love and redemption. You need to stand together in faith as we journey through these biblical truths. This is the moment to help spread hope and salvation.